What is up, Rangers? Happy HyperForce Wednesday. I am Ranger Liz, and I am going to talk about last night's HyperForce. That's right, it happened less than 24 hours ago, but let's just talk about it. I got my coffee today. I'm rocking my Slytherin Harry Potter, House Slytherin for me, my friends. Rocking it because actually something in it really reminded me of Harry Potter, a scene that happened in HyperForce, and we're gonna get to it pretty quick. But real quick, if you were looking at screen grabs and you didn't get to completely follow along the episode, some had Yoshi in them, some didn't. He showed up about half to 3/4 of the way through the episode. He was filming something when they started, so he had to rush over, and basically, so he did make the second half, but for the first half he was not in it. But in canon, and what was going on in the show was that the rest of the Rangers who, when they start up, they're back in their ship, but they're healed up. Joe is in the medical bay because Joe was much worse off than they were. So while the rest of the Rangers were healed, Joe was still healing up. So the Alliance leader is now stronger. The Alliance leadership is completely healed, or whatever. It is done up. They're down a Ranger. This is what happens. They jump ahead for 2 years. They go to a planet Y37. So from when they were in the SPD timeline, they said goodbye to everyone. The Alliance leader, I guess they kind of drop Joe off, where the Alliance leader goes ahead 2 years is all, and in Y37, and Malika did apparently a lot of, my cat is gonna jump up here. Malika did a lot of prison research on shapes of prisons to try to find the right one for the story she was telling, and so she did this. Please don't, again, cat. So she came up with one, and it, watery lake on a small planet. It's this, it's a drawbridge going in, and it's like a circular prison where Cat really likes this window. Anywho. So the Alliance leader basically goes in and goes, "Rah!" and gates open and prisoners are becoming freed. Now, they're still stuck because there's the main, they gotta get in and out of it, but the gates are apparently freed. Yeah. So, who comes out? Who comes out of them? Because when we were looking at this at first, we had no idea. We just knew it was containment cells. Who knows? Out comes A Squad. A Squad! Now, if you don't know who A Squad is the reason our SPD team is known as the B Squad. And I think they're forever going to be known as the B Squad because nobody wants to be the A Squad. The A Squad turned evil in SPD, and they didn't because some Rangers, they turn evil, but it's a spell or it's whatever. No, they legit were Grum for life, take us with you. And yeah, so they willingly were bad, and now they're out. This could be fun. There were 5 A Squad members. They were in SPD. They used the helmets. Cat's playing with my CarMax now. They're using the helmets of In Space, which was kind of fun, which is another thing for in SPD when Boom created his Ranger suit, which was orange. He was probably using the A Squad helmets because they probably had those laying around. They were kind of, I think at that point, I am ridiculously digressing. The main part of it is A Squad is there now, and they were the bad Rangers. Y'all still with me? At this point, that's good, because I'll tell you, a lot of the action happens at the first part, and the second half is just all in the characters and the feels. So, let's get into the action. It's the friggin' A Squad! They're wondering, okay, what do we do? So they're in their ship, right? And they're looking, over the prison, but they're stealth, so nobody can see them. They're like, what are we gonna do? And Vesper's just no, I'll tell you exactly what Vesper's like. Leroy Jenkins! Because that's actually what she yelled. Which is it's awesome. It's a wow. Google if you don't know what Leroy Jenkins is. So she just jumps out and lands, and the rest of the Rangers are like, so they probably spotted us, right? Malika's just like, yep. So they all just jump out. They all land in superhero poses, except for Chloe, who lands outside of it. That is important because here they are. They end up, so the rest of the four of them, Marv uses his charisma. They end up talking the Green Ranger, like, out of attacking all of them through his charisma. So he just, like, runs off. He hits a button. And so basically the other four evil Rangers get out. And Chloe is out because she didn't make her jump. The other Rangers are locked in. That's right. The Green Ranger was like, screw this. That button he hit, like, closed the gate behind him, so he escaped. But the rest of the Rangers are out, and Chloe's out, and the rest of them are in. So, they end up just teleporting out. It was an interesting thing because you don't know really where that could have went in the story. Imagine if they all teleported in and it became a giant fight. Like, imagine they had to take out all of the SPD Rangers, you know? Okay, well, actually, they did. They ended up taking out all the SPD Rangers. But it could have been, like, inside. It could have been with more monsters. It's interesting to think, and because of the role-playing aspects of it and the rolling, and, you know, they talked the Green Ranger out of fighting, and Chloe was... It was pretty cool. Chloe ends up using her Battleizer, as she always does, and Hurricane Whirlwind, as she always does. You know, the fight actually went really well, and it was a pretty good fight versus the A Squad. And then they kind of dogpile over all of them to not let them escape until SPD Green shows up, turns them into data cards, and yeah. That was a quick old summary. There was no Zords in this episode. In fact, there was no, like, big bad. There was no... There was the A Squad, and so that was cool. That was, like, enough for me for the fight. But after that, A's gonna get a little crazy. So the Green SPD Ranger shows up, turns all of them into cards, and she's like, oh, hey, whatever. And she's like, what, you don't know who I am? And she's like, no, sorry. It's Detective Song. It's Detective Song, and she is now SPD Green. So, if you've watched like every season of Power Rangers ever, you would know, because some people have lives, Liz. Some people have lives. The SPD Green spot was vacated because Bridge became blue, and then Bridge. There were some suit swaps after SPD happened. And because of that, in canon, we didn't really have, like, we didn't know who was going to be the current SPD Green. And so Malika, who, you know, people, I guess, were thinking, like, oh, she should become a Ranger or whatever. They needed kind of a Ranger to show up, and they're like, well, hey, can we just have Detective Song become a Ranger? You know, that would be her next natural thing, is to become an SPD Ranger if she was a detective, or maybe not the next one, but it's in the same general area. The cool thing about all of this was, well, okay, a lot of things were clearly cool about it, but Malika, when she originally made Detective Song, just needed a base character model, and when you're creating a lot of stuff like this, sometimes you pull from real life, and you go, oh, I'm gonna model this character after whomever. Well, she actually modeled Detective Song after her sister, and then where, like, the character went, and then she ended up being made into the SPD Green Ranger, so... Malika accidentally / on purpose via the roll of the dice and the way the game went made a person in her sister's image become the official Green SPD Ranger. That's cool. I would love if y'all could just write me into a script, and then somehow with enough, I don't know, like, things on petitions or change those things, like, they clearly they work, right, with like 40 signatures. We'll get on that. So it's, for them, they were like, dude, we just saw you like an hour ago. And she was like a day ago, and she was like, it's been 2 years. Vesper's just not handling stuff well this episode. She kind of goes off on her own. Detective Sung did let them know that everybody made it out, like all the mutants made it out okay after it. So here's what's fun. So then we do a little sidebar and we go to the Alliance, and the Alliance leader is ticked. Boy, he's ticked. And he's just figuring they have to have a tracker. They have to have a tracker. Sends off the putties, go scour every inch of the ship. And they come back and they find Joe's tracker. But the Rangers have 2 trackers. The Alliance finds one. You know, crushes it in his fist, or he probably did. He's an evil villain. But then Scorpina, who's, you know, like kind of smart actually, it's like, what if it's in the morpher? What if these morphers, they can track their morphers, so they're doing it? So we don't know what they did with it for that very short amount of time, but it was also destroyed. So Joe's Time Force morpher is no more, which would be cool speculation wise. I mean, maybe they'll just get him a HyperForce one. Maybe they'll just make a HyperForce Silver Ranger and just make him a HyperForce one and give him his own stuff. It would be easier to be able to make his tech, his aesthetic, his, you know, maybe if they gave him a Zord, it could, I mean, how cool would that be? They gave him a Zord and they could, like, combine them for, like, the final battle. Woo, because we're getting up there in episodes, guys. There's only 25 episodes of these, so it's just going, it's a ride, and it's been a lot of fun. Alright, so Rangers get back home after this. They know that their trackers are gone. They have no way of knowing exactly where he is until there's a rift shift, basically. So they will have Alpha, and they will be able to get to them still, and the Alliance leaders does not know about that. So right now the Alliance are like, okay, now we, you know, like, we're safe now, but the Rangers are like totally on their thumbs because, you know, what do you do until we have a clue? So they go back home, and they go home. They go back to the year 17, 16, whenever it's supposed to have started. And we get a familiar face, and that is Miss Abigail. We get an update from Abigail. So some of the other, they realize in all of the chaos of it that other Time Force ships actually are missing, and they were going missing while they were, like, when it was realized what happened, Jen put, like, lockdown on the absolute best ships. I mean, I guess if everything's going, like, crazy, then yeah, you can maybe only get a handful of people to protect ships, but there are more Time Force ships that are taken, and it was, like, soon after the giant event. Jen wasn't there in the world. She was off contacting more reinforcements, which we all know there's probably going to be more guests, but yeah, there's going to be more guests. And I hope she was contacting them, or at least for their sakes, to help, because the Alliance leader is like, man. We get a cool scene after the update, and that is the Rangers get their official Time Force Academy officer badges. That is right, they have graduated. They did the trial by fire, and they passed, well, because they're not dead, so, you know, they passed. They get up, and, you know, it was a really cool moment. Abigail was classmates with them, and having her be the person who gets to give it to them was just a really poignant moment, and it was played very well by Malika, who was, you know, crying. It was a really cool thing. I think she was fake crying. It was really far away, so I can't actually see her face that well, but I'm gonna pretend she was crying. They hit all of them, but so Jack's like, but he gets a little pin with the star on it, and he puts that, you know, on his collar, So they're all kind of just official now. And with it, they got an awesome power-up, and that is including civilian form. They get to roll an additional d6 to attack. So now, on a normal civilian roll, on their attack rolls, they will get to roll 2d6, and when they are morphed in Ranger form, they will now get to roll 3d6. Maybe that'll help. And thank you, as always, to everybody rolling in the Supers, Megas, and Ultras. It was kind of nice because their rolls actually weren't crap and a half. So because of the Supers, like, they, were like really doing it instead of probably still failing. Now we get to almost the second half of the story. And it is a lot. I typed a ton. So let's just, what? The Rangers say, okay, where are we going to go? Vesper's like, I'm gonna go talk to my parents because, Lord, I have a lot of questions, and she's gonna be almost the bulk of this. So here's the rest. Chloe gets a good one. She just runs around. So all the Rangers basically have a little bit of downtime. They get enough time to basically go home. I don't know. Let's just say, like, pack clothes, say hi to everybody really quick, and pretty much have to get back to the academy. But Chloe's like, I'm just going to walk around campus because I'm kind of a rock star now. And so she's like taking selfies with people. She does come forward and she gets straight with Abigail and lets her know, like, what she was doing in the lab and how she, was actually trying to find stuff about her parents. And sorry, I was like, I'm already trying to head for Vesper stuff. She's trying to stuff, and yeah, it was nice that she got it off her chest to Abigail, because that was something that she was, something she was really worried about. And so Abigail basically reassured her that she will help her try to find those files, because Chloe's like, well, I think I left them right outside the door, but Abigail's like, with the whirlwinds, with the everything that was happening, with the ships taking off when the Alliance attacked, she's like, everything probably got wrapped up together and all the files, so she will look for it. That, I don't want to say is going to be like a pin in that for a bit, but, or maybe it'll even be coming back up really soon, but to me that's, okay, Chloe has the seal of approval, we're going to find stuff, but Alliance clearly first, but it's cool, your motives, we're cool with it. Jack was going to go just back to his apartment, and Vesper was like, do you like food? I was like, yeah. Okay, then come with me for food. And there will probably be awkwardness, and there was super awkwardness. So Jack goes with Vesper. Eddie ends up meeting Bianca, and that was a total... I thought there was going to be more, like, weirdness between them, but apparently they had already broke up before, and their parents were awkward. Or, like, were awkward, but they're like, well, we'll still be friends and business partners and stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling whatever story it was just, I don't know, maybe I'm just way too confused with it now. I'm like, I thought there was going to be way more to it, and right now it's just like Eddie had lunch with his ex, I guess, and just didn't say he liked Vesper, and found out things were cool. So, sweet, I guess. Marv and Joe had an awesome surprise for his parents, because they kind of thought Joe was dead and gone, Power Rangers. So that was really cool. You find out afterwards this was all complete, like, improv. Like, Marv kind of knew where things were going, what he wanted to say, and what he wanted to tell from the story, and Malika just completely played along with it. And then you have Yoshi, or Joe, going in. It was a really sweet moment, though, and, it was really sweet with his parents. He's back, and then they don't want him to leave, as any parents would, but, they had to say goodbye, and passing over that is so crazy because of how much of an awesome moment it was. But Vesper confronted her parents about the fact that she found out she was an android, and boy, did we find out some stuff. So it was very much, oh yeah, and Vesper also introduced Jack as her husband. Strange. So, 17 years ago, her parents were researching, like, AI, deep thinking robot technology. And they're working with Dr. Louis Fenrix. That's Frax. Frax from Time Force and Rancic. Pulling even more things in. There was a huge explosion one day, and yeah, they found her, and they raised her as her own, and now she's theirs. How awkward. There was a big explosion, and, you know, when they rushed over, it was a really awesome moment, so I can't do it justice, or I'm not going to try to. But they rushed over, you know, they found this little crying coming from the building. They find her, and they were just like, we knew you were special. But they weren't really sure, you know, like, we knew you were special. So she was found. She's like, am I human? They were like, look, you know, we were working with all this stuff. We were working with before, but it was just nothing compared to what your levels are. You were like an actual human robot clone or hybrid almost. All they know is that she was a creation of the lab, but she is growing, you know, like she's taking in all of this information that she gets by growing and living, and so she is living in that way. There's a lot. We're gonna learn a lot more about this. I kind of am glad almost that one of the big things that happened early-ish enough in the story was that Joe's big thing was trying to find his brother, and that was resolved, because it's really giving more time now. Which I don't say resolved, but like, we can kind of say, okay, that pushed it to the side. Let's start looking more at Chloe's parents again. Let's start looking more at Vesper. She's just like, am I real? Am I a complete robot? Am I human at all? This is the actual explanation. She's synthetically created, but biologically created tissue. So she's synthetically, biologically creating things. So she's still creating tissues, like she's alive. She's just making the things herself. Look, my brain hurts. So they decide to go and check out the original place that she was created, you know, to go check out the lab, and they see prints that are clearly newer than 17 years old. And yeah, so, Vesper kidnaps her dog from her childhood home. Yeah, there's another side thing from that. So Vesper has this dog, it gets loose, and the little boy basically snatches him, and you know, they're like running after the dog, running after this kid. This little boy's like freaking out, start shimmering or, you know, shaking. And they're like, you know, get away from my brother. I'm like, what? Like, and then there's like another person and another person. And then they find more. And so there's named Spencer, is one of the older one who originally called for the brother, named Josh. Josh is like maybe 6, they said. So Vesper, you know, comes forward like, who are you? Like, do you live here? And they look at her and they're just like, it's you came back. Like, what? And so the little boy like just gives her a hug, and she's like, what is going on? They're like, oh, do you know Dr. Ferrix or whatever? I didn't say Thorax, but Dr. Ferrix. And they're like, yeah, that's our dad. What? And they're like, yeah, you know, he jumped over us to save us, like, and he programmed them to seek revenge on the mutant who did that to him. That was Rancic, so that's gonna be fun. The whole last part is just I just kind of say it with this, and now she has a bunch of siblings, cause I'm a little mind blown. I thought the episode, like, I thought the big thing was gonna be, when they first said going home, I was like, okay, you know, Joe maybe gets to see his parents and whatever. I really did not expect the Vesper stuff. And I mean, I should have, because she was gonna confront her parents, but man, that is the way the episode went. They're picking up, I'm assuming, the next episode with them with the mutants, not with the mutants, with them with the with the siblings of Vesper who are after the mutants. To get the full effect, you gotta watch it yourself, but if you don't get a chance to watch it yourself, I really appreciate that you try to get the wrap-ups from me and from anyone else. I hope you enjoyed it. Be a lookout on it. If you didn't get to watch it yourself, it'll be up Tuesday. Maybe you'll get a chance to see it before next Tuesday's episode. Twitch.tv/HyperRPG. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I'm just kind of here. Have a good one.